Once again, time to welcome in the insiders, Chris Johnston and Elliotte Friedman, for a little instant analysis. And then there were five potential hub cities. We've gone from 10 to 5, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, Toronto, and Edmonton still alive and kicking. What happened with Vancouver? CJ.
Well, in the end, David, there was no compromise to be made with some of the health and safety protocols that the NHL felt it needed to run a hub city out of Vancouver, especially when it became to life inside that bubble, and what the government of British Columbia needed to in order to allow the NHL to come there. And I don't think it was a contentious issue per se, as much as there was just no way to sort of sort out the two ways of looking at things. And like, let's look at BC. It's been the province in this country that has done the best job of limiting cases. In part, it's done that because the scientists have been at the forefront of the decision-making, and they've been very conservative in terms of quarantines and things of that nature. I just don't think there's any way to make it work with the NHL. Now, this is a bit of a surprise in the sense that 3 or 4 days ago, I would have told you Vancouver was as close as you could be to a lock to being one of the hub cities. And now the league has had to re-engage with the bids out of Edmonton and especially one in Toronto, in which the Maple Leafs organization has really moved a lot of things around and done some tweaking. And I do believe the league would like to still have one of these hub cities at least based in Canada. So, we'll see where they end up with those two.
Based on what you're saying, does this help the candidacy potentially of Toronto or Edmonton? The fact that you say there is an appetite from the league to have a Canadian hub, at least one.
Well, I would think so. And I don't know that it's beyond the realm of possibility that both could still maybe end up as hub cities. This has been a very fluid process as we've learned through the Vancouver experience. The details of these bids, the intricate details are very important. The rest of us sit from afar and opine on, the COVID spread numbers or the kind of hotels in the city. But I mean, the reality is there's a lot that goes into examining these packages. There's been a lot of back and forth already with all the cities in the league in terms of trying to tweak things and answer concerns or questions. And so, I do expect that one of those two will probably end up as a hub, but I want to be very careful here not to give a headline, because we've seen a very twisting and turning process to this point, and it's not across the finish line just yet.
Hey, listen, it is a fluid situation, and not just the resumption of play and all the logistical minefields that still await the National Hockey League to get back on the ice, but also the collective bargaining agreement, maybe lost in the shuffle at times here, Elliotte. But this is a major storyline, the fact that we could be inching closer to a collective bargaining agreement. What can you tell us about that?
We definitely are inching closer towards at least a vote on it, David, and I think that's going to happen probably early next week. And basically what we're going to see is we're going to see one big vote by the players on the safety protocols for the training camp and the games and the CBA, because I think they're all intertwined with each other. Every player gets a vote, and it's going to be interesting. Artemi Panarin had a fiery Instagram post on Thursday, and, basically it talked about escrow and how the players were cleaning up the owner's financial mistakes, and it had to stop. And I was looking into it and wondering, okay, where is this coming from? And basically what happened was, I got some information that what they're going to be voting on from a financial point of view is that next year there'll be a 20% cap on the escrow. They were guesstimating it could be 35 if they didn't play, 27 to 28 even if they did. But also the players have agreed to pending the vote, a one-time salary deferral. It's not a rollback of 10% because they will get the money eventually. It's a deferral, and they'll get that money back later. And the benefit to them is that it should come when the escrow points are lower. So it's going to be interesting. Like, Chris, you talk to a lot of players. I talked to a few. I get the sense that, between the world of COVID, and I think there's going to be opt-out language, but all the risks here plus this, I think this one's going to be a little bit bumpy. My sense is it's going to pass, but I don't think it's going to be like 930-2 like we normally see.
Right, and I will say I'm surprised, I guess, just at how much consternation there is out there. I mean, look, this is a very difficult time in the world. I mean, lots of people are going through lots of difficult things for lots of reasons. But I do find that, we've highlighted it a bit in our past chats, guys, but whether it's the return to play, whether it's some of the details of the CBA, there is some real angst among the player base. I think it's important, as you mentioned there, Elliotte, though, that the whole NHLPA membership gets a vote. It would take a huge number, a huge, degree of opposition in terms of this not happening. But, I'm not going to say anything's done until it's done with this process, just because of how things have gone. And I should point out too, what's interesting to me about the deferral system, Elliotte, is that in my eyes, it benefits players like Artemi Panarin, guys that make the most money in the league. He's due to make $13 million next season. That means he's deferring $1.3 million that he's going to pay less escrow on over time. I realize it's going to take him more time to get it in his bank account than it otherwise would have. But, to me, that appears anyway to be something to appease some of the star players that have front-loaded deals. And so, look, there's a lot of divergent opinions out there, and this is a very interesting time for the sport.
Listen, a lot of logistics to be worked out, but let's remember we're on the clock. Phase 3 officially set to begin on July 10th. That's just a couple of weeks away. One thing we do know is set in stone, and that is the NHL Draft Lottery Friday night. So we'll wait and find out who does have the number 1 overall pick. Thanks again to our insiders. Very fluid situation, gentlemen. I'm sure we'll be meeting just like this sooner than later. Thanks again, CJ and Elliotte.
Thanks very much, David. 2 thumbs up to your contractor. That's a nice kitchen.